are these people?
Next story. What you got?
So I think we might be a little out of order given the slides, but whatever. Yeah, this was at the last, but it's second, so it's fine. So yeah, Pfizer, I mean, no surprise, has cashed in with a record-shattering of $100 billion in revenue. Oh, thank you. I was wondering if you were going to time it just right. I think you just did. So
Yeah.
Um,
How about no? Anyway, what?
uh, uh, 100 billion in revenue denounced as sickening. Well, this is Common Dreams, so they're going to mostly do it from the left.
Nice.
Put simply, Pfizer has plundered health systems for profit, says the People's Vaccine Alliance. So Jake Johnson continues. Maybe not. There we go. The US-based pharmaceutical giant Pfizer reported Tuesday that it brought in a record-breaking $100.3 billion in revenue in 2022 and $31.4 billion in profit, sums that campaigners decried as sickening in the face of an ongoing pandemic and persistent inequities in the corona vaccine access. In 1 year alone, Pfizer's revenue has exceeded the total health expenditures of more than 100 countries combined. Julia Cosell, policy coach lead of the People's Vaccine Alliance, said in a statement, "If it were a country, Pfizer would sit in the wealthiest third of nation states. And it has amassed its fortune by jacking up prices on COVID-19 vaccines amid a pandemic that has devastated people's livelihoods. Put simply, Pfizer has plundered health systems for profit." Pfizer, led by CEO Albert Bourla, is the manufacturer of one of the two available mRNA vaccines for COVID-19, as well as the oral coronavirus treatment Paxlovid. The company reported 56 million in sales of its COVID-19 vaccine and Paxlovid, but it says it expects sales to drop in the coming year as it moves to hike prices significantly on its vaccine, a plan that has drawn international alarm and outrage. So just to kind of get some context here, and we heard, well, sorry, if you didn't watch it, you didn't miss a whole lot. But if you did watch Biden's State of the Union last night, you would have heard that, or if you might have read that, he's ending our public health emergency as of May 11th. So that means past that date, if you get COVID, you will have to pay out of your pocket. Well, after insurance, you have to pay out of pocket for treatment. So yeah, it makes sense that they're going to make less revenue now. Given that now, I think you'll have to pay around $130 for treatment, or at least a vaccine. But so it just seems to me like they're just, well, makes sense, but not to the point of, helping us, that they try to rack in as much money as they can over the past 2 years to kind of sit on now.
Yeah.
You have any thoughts on that?
I mean, it's just like stuff we already knew, you know? I mean, and I'm sure if you looked at Moderna and, what was the other one? Pfizer, Moderna, and
AstraZeneca.
yes,
That's in Europe though, but
yeah. But like I'm sure they all increased their profits by like loads,
Yeah.
So I mean, for them it's been a great success. They made tons of money. And now with, things, people being sued because of injuries of this, because they fast tracked this, vaccine. Like, I don't know. I'm sure they'll be fine. They're gonna be all right. But we're gonna have to deal with the consequences of that.
Right.
But yeah, And the fact that they also went after very cheap possible treatments with ivermectin and other things. Like, this was all about profit motives, you
Yeah.
know. So, but
Yeah,
it continues, I guess.
yes. Okay. Globally, more than 2,600 people are dying from COVID each day on average. According to Our World in Data, just over 26% of people in low-income nations have received at least one coronavirus vaccine dose, as Pfizer and other pharmaceutical giants refuse to make their vaccine technology available to all, even though it was developed with the help of government funding and scientific advancements. Billions of people in developing countries still cannot access affordable COVID-19 medicines, said Kosel. Companies like Pfizer are gobbling up ever-grading proportions of health budgets and handing the spoils to wealthy shareholders, all while treating access for developing countries as little more than a PR initiative. We cannot go on like this. Excuse me. The UK-based advocacy group Global Justice Now called Pfizer's record earnings report sickening. With this latest all-time high announcement, Pfizer now has revenues higher than the GDP of 133 countries, including 8 EU member states, and it's the first pharma company ever to make 100 billion in a year, noted Tim Burley, the group's pharma campaigner. But not content with doubling its revenues with a pandemic windfall, they are now still moving to aggressively hike the price of COVID-19 booster doses, putting even more pressure on already struggling public health systems. So, yeah, it's just the idea of like, if you have to get it, you're not going to have a choice to get it and pay for it, basically, at this point. Given
Yeah.
that we're out of this public health emergency by the spring. But continuing, the latest record-breaking revenues are further proof that the company treated the pandemic as an opportunity to enrich its shareholders, Burley added. We can't allow big pharma companies to hold us in ransom in this way. We need a government to be bold and break with the monopoly patent model that fails people everywhere. It's time to put people's lives above corporate profit. A people-funded vaccine should be cheap and freely available. Both Pfizer and Moderna had signaled plans to raise the prices of their vaccines to somewhere between $110 to $130 per dose in the US as the Biden administration moves ahead with the commercialization of coronavirus inoculations, tests, and treatments, shifting costs onto patients and insurers and leaving the uninsured to shoulder significant payments.
Come
The
on,
US
man.
government The US government has basically paid around $30 per dose for Pfizer's vaccine. $30.
$30. I mean, that's expensive
Even
little
that's too,
vaccine.
even that's too much, in my opinion. I think it may have been around maybe $2 to produce, I think. I'm not sure on this. If someone in the chat, if there's anyone in this chat knows, let us know. But yeah, from what I understand, it was less than that, to manufacture per person. So the
Right.
fact that they're jacking it up to over $100 per dose is crazy. But
Ridiculous.
anyway, in recent days, the Biden administration has faced growing calls to use the federal government's ownership of key patents and other leverage to force Moderna and Pfizer to make their vaccines affordable and readily available to all who want them or need them, depending. The Biden administration should not allow Moderna to more than quadruple the price of the COVID vaccine to $130 when it costs just $2.85 to produce. Yeah, to produce. Senator Bernie Sanders tweeted on Sunday, the COVID vaccine must be used to save lives, not to further enrich the billionaire owners of Moderna. Moderna and Pfizer are also facing backlash from lawmakers overseas over their planned price increases. In a letter to Borea and Moderna CEO Stefan Bancel on Tuesday, British MP Caroline Lucas of the Green Party and 3 other lawmakers wrote that with the National Health Service already under significant pressure and the cost of medicines increasing year on year, we are extremely concerned about the multiple impacts of a possible price hike. Throughout its development, the Pfizer biotech vaccine received huge amounts of public money and support internationally, the lawmakers wrote. Even the mRNA technology that Pfizer Biotech employed within the COVID-19 vaccine is rooted in decades of public funded research. A people funded vaccine should be cheap and freely available.
Well,
I mean, I
yes.
mean,
Also,
nothing new.
shouldn't be mandated, especially at that kind of profit level. You
Right.
know?
But again, it's going to do two things. It's going to make people not get it.
Yes.
Um, fine.
But we all
At
know
least for me.
COVID's
Fine for me.
over in May. Biden said so. So,
Right.
you know,
So, but then, like, if people need to get it, um, you
yeah.
know, if they're uninsured, God knows how much it's going to be. I would want to think it's probably going to be more than $100 that they'll have to pay.
Mm.
Um, we're not sure what the 130 costs if that accounts for insurance or not. But either way, given that COVID is here to stay, like I hate saying it, but in a way, it should be treated like the flu. Like if you
Yes.
need a flu shot, which flu shots are
Endemic.
right?
Yeah.
It should be relatively cheap. It doesn't. I think it costs around maybe like $10
I think.
to get a flu shot or something like that. It's cheap, and widely available if you need it during flu shot season. So I feel like COVID-19 vaccines should be treated that way. They should be, again, seeing how cheap it is to produce. But we can't even give insulin for free, to everybody. So, they're like, again, like
Or any other healthcare service.
I think the fact that, Biden was bragging, like we capped insulin at $35 for seniors and everyone else,
Yeah.
like, especially if that's like life changing medicine, like there shouldn't be a high price tag to it. So,
Right.
but I mean, good work, Pfizer. You fleeced us, and now you are going to fleece us even more now that we have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Good job.
Good job. Good job. So